The headlines this morning: mass communication professionals charged to adopt survival strategy in the era of career uncertainties. INEC tasked NAS for speedy passage of Electoral Offences Commission bill. More than 6,000 people displaced in California's wildfires. Now, before the news in detail, here is a special message. Governor Chukwuma Soludo has come for a total turnaround maintenance of the Anambra State economy and promotion of core Igbo values. Let's give him maximum support for the task ahead. Good morning to you and welcome to the news. I am Ebere Ugunna. The Department of Mass Communication, COO UIBARIAM, has ended their departmental week with a call on students to adopt a survival strategy in the era of career uncertainties. The event, which had paper presentations from erudite speakers, also featured cultural dance performance, beauty pageant, dancing competition, and award presentation. Education correspondent Theophilus Okoha has details.
Speaking on the topic, career uncertainties and the future of mass communication professionals in a distressed economy, the Managing Director, ABS, Mr. Chido Obidiegu, persuaded the students and mass communication professionals to go extra miles to fully reclaim their professional space, which uneducated folks, quacks, armed with only Android phones, are trying to take over. Mr. Obidiegu posited solutions and survival strategies to include utilization of artificial intelligence in mass communication school curriculum and making learning of mass communication in schools to entrepreneurship based, being that the era of education for certificates and begging to apply is gone.
I believe that there are things that ought to be done. I believe there are things that we have left undone. And I want us to look at that now. How do we manage the uncertainties during these perilous times? Let's look at the curriculum of the universities or higher institutions where we study mass communication. Curriculum. The curriculum in mass communication schools should be more practical than theoretical. We ought to utilize artificial intelligence and the latest information and communication technology gadgets, and it must be mandatory. It is not enough to be reading out textbooks. Incidentally, this is the biggest problem we have in the industry.
For his own paper presentation, MD Nationalite newspaper, Sachuka Nnabife, on the theme Beyond Those Fallacies About Newspaper, exposed the fallacies about newspaper, which is still an agenda-setting platform and serves as barrier and preserver of the messenger's message in a clearly accessible form. The National Newspaper Boss challenged the will-be mass communication professionals to be focused and practical in their pursuit in life. The chairman, NUJ, Dr. Odogu Emeka Odogu, reminisced on his academic journey to where he is now, which is being focused looking onto quality professionals and learning from them. Dr. Odogu advised the students to adopt a mentor who will mentor them to becoming dependable, hard-working professionals.
What am I trying to tell you? I was focused. I know where my talent is, and I was focusing on it. I was pursuing it. By 2007, I became a household name through champion newspapers. My dear fellow students, because I'm a student like you, journalism is a job you will do. You don't have a friend, you don't have an enemy. If you must do the journalism very properly, you must be busy.
The head of Department Mass Communication, COO UIBARIAM, Professor Angela Nwammo, in an interview said the real essence of the event is to expose the students to the mixture of town and gown to enable them learn from professionals already in the field, and however thanked all that graced the occasion.
So the students have seen the practical aspect of journalism, and look at the caliber of people were invited. Like the chairman NUJ said it all. He encouraged them to keep on forging ahead. So that was the essence of it. Keep on pushing hard, as he said. Whatever you want to be, start today. So it's a way of encouraging our students. That's it. For them to experience the practical aspect of journalism. That's all.
Traditional ruler of Ukulu, Igwe Peter Oyanwa, represented by Honorable Chris Oba, President General Ukulu, Mr. Geb Obaleze, Director News and Current Affairs, ABS, and other distinguished professionals were also in attendance. Award presentation, cultural dance, beauty pageant, dancing competition added glamour to the event. Theophilus Okoha reporting for ABS News.
Pathfinder's Model School, Amobia, Orca South local government area has marked its third graduation and gift presentation day with a call on parents to invest in their children's education to make them good ambassadors of their families and society at large. The school, which is located at off number 1 Chief Willie Obiano Street, Umukabia layout, Amobia, Orca South Council area, is government approved and made up of crèche, nursery and primary. Correspondent Emmanuel Okonkwo tells us more.
Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, everyone. Thank you, Father.
In an address, the proprietress of Pathfinder's Model School, Dr. Blessing Ndom, explained that the school has qualified teachers who are well equipped with ideal teaching methods which align with the vision of the institution to groom children that can comfortably compete with their counterparts world over through the power of sound education and knowledge. Dr. Ndom, who appreciated parents of the pupils for their support to the school since inception, used the opportunity to solicit for the assistance of good-spirited individuals in their plans to move to the permanent site and purchase some sets of computer among other needs.
Our vision is to groom the total child who can comfortably compete with their peers through the power of knowledge. We have not slacked in that, and we promise to keep up this good work in collaboration with our highly esteemed parents to bring up our children with sound academic excellence and in the fear and admonition of the Lord.
In their separate remarks, the patron of the school, Mr. Donatus Ndom, managing director of GI Okafor and Sons Limited, makers of Winkle Foam, Chief Godwin Okafor, who chaired the occasion, rated Pathfinder's Model School high in child grooming and asked parents to, amidst all odds, invest in their children's education and inculcate right character in them in order to live happily at old age, as according to them, sound education and right attitude are the best gifts parents could give to their children.
The Brotherhood of the Cross, and now popularly known as Olumba Olumba Obu, through their Christ Universal Mercy Fellowship and Crusaders Fellowship, have rounded off their Anambra State Evangelism 2022. The evangelism program is to liberate and project the message of peace and hope to the people. Correspondent Chibuzo Obidike has details.
The 2022 evangelism with theme God of Reconstruction, the solid rock upon which we stand, has community stakeholders, academics, bishops and archbishops from within and outside the state gathering for 4 days of prayers and fasting to seek the presence of God over the state insecurity in the state. Addressing the congregation, the patriarch Christ Shepherd Chika Wanka explained that their mission is to teach, sanctify, and establish the kingdom of God on earth, and ask Christians to institute justice and equity, teach love and forgiveness in order to foster unity and peace. He pointed out that their gathering embraces the rich, poor, young and old, irrespective of color, and wondered why other bodies encourages or castigates Olumba Olumba Obu without knowing his doctrines and practices, instead of focusing on the message of Christ.
Beloved children of God, on the lips of everyone is the expectation of God, because his expectation is a promise of goodness, of mercy, of prosperity, of well-being, of glory, and achievement, capacity to achieve all our desires.
Speaking on the brotherhood doctrine and belief, Christ's new preacher Shril Wadiaro said that walking on barefoot and bowing of head by its members are highly spiritual practice, as was observed by most of the prophets of old during their encounter with God, noting that the sanctity of God's presence is awesome and must be honored as God Almighty, the creator of all things, seen and unseen, which is backed up in different parts of the Bible. For Archbishop Chamberlain Charlie and International Chairman for Mercy Fellowship, His Eminence Ronke Aluku acknowledged the misinterpretation of people about them, which they said is immaterial. Rather, they are concerned about loving and respecting one another, as well as ensuring they live in peace and oneness through treating their brothers with the cordial way of love, and described the Olumba Obu as the school of practical Christianity. A guest at the 2022 Anambra Evangelism expressed surprise at the practice and teachings of the Brotherhood, which clearly was opposite of the negative things people say, but suggested for enlightenment programs and sensitization of the public from the ugly trend that Olumba Obu is a cultic group.
What I think people are before, they say you don't visit them, you don't even go there, they lock their door and pray. And I go around now, with them my friends are going there. Those things are fallacy.
The 2022 evangelism featured constant visits to dignitaries, humanitarian outreach to correctional centers, motherless babies' homes, hospitals, disabled and indigents on the street, paper presentation, among others.
Moving on to our national stories now, the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, has said the speedy passage of the National Electoral Offences Commission and Tribunal Bill by the National Assembly would checkmate vote buying. The bill meant to provide a legal framework for investigation and prosecution of electoral offences for the general improvement of the electoral process in Nigeria on June 30, passed second reading in the House of Representatives. The Senate had in July 2021 passed a similar bill which had 7 parts and 48 sections and sought to take the burden of prosecuting electoral offenders off INEC. INEC Resident Electoral Commissioner REC in Lagos State, Olusegun Agbaje, said if passed into law, the bill would ensure speedy trial of electoral offenders. He said if electoral offenders, including vote buyers and vote sellers, were arrested and quickly prosecuted, there will be more sanity in the 2023 general elections. Agbaje advised that all stakeholders should engage politicians and vote buying ahead of the 2023 general elections and talk to them as actors sponsoring and encouraging this menace. He said security, judiciary, INEC, National Assembly, political parties, NGOs and other critical stakeholders had roles to play in fighting vote buying and vote selling. And moving on to a foreign scene, a fast-moving wildfire in California continues to grow in size, firefighters say, as they struggle through sweltering temperatures. The oak fire has now burned 15,603 acres of land and is still 0% contained. California's fire department said on Sunday night. More than 6,000 people have been evacuated and 10 structures destroyed. A further 3,271 structures, both homes and businesses, are under threat. The California Department of Forestry and Fire Protection, CAL FIRE, reported. A state of emergency was declared in Mariposa County on Saturday and will allow the state to access some federal assistance to tackle the fires. The scale of the blaze marks an ominous start to California's wildfire season, and officials have warned that a combination of drought, climate change, and overgrown vegetation are posing significant challenges and increasing the chances of the fire spreading rapidly. Much of the United States is sweltering through a heat wave, and heat advisory warnings are in effect in more than a dozen states. Temperatures in Mariposa County hit 100 Fahrenheit, 38 Celsius on Sunday, and expected to stay high for the next few days. And on sports news, the Falconets will be leaving in the next few days for Colombia to finalize their preparations for next month's FIBA's Under-20 Women's World Cup final scheduled for Costa Rica. Ademola Olajire, the Director of Communications at the Nigerian Football Federation, NFF, disclosed this in a statement. The tour will round up the team's preparation for the competition since their qualification several weeks ago. Olajire said it was from Colombia the team would fly into San Jose in Costa Rica for the final slated to hold from August 10 to August 28. The Falconets will begin their campaign and the competition on August 12 against France. They will play all the Group C matches against South Korea and August 14 and Canada and on August 18. The immediate past President General of Awka, late Engineer Tony Anene Okechukwu, has been laid to rest. His hostel accommodation at St. Peter's University, Achina, is to be named after him. Correspondent Kenechukwu Chukwudi brings details.
The former President General of Awka Development Union Nigeria, ADUN, late Engineer Anthony, has been committed to Mother Earth. The ritual mass for the deceased, which held at St. Patrick's Cathedral, Awka, was presided over by the Bishop of Awka Diocese, Most Reverend Paulinus Ezokafo, with the Bishop of Nnewi Diocese, Most Reverend Jonas Benson Okoye, and numerous other priests in attendance. In his homily at the burial mass, Most Reverend Okoye noted that death is an inevitable end for all mortal, but also a transition to another level of spiritual life, affirming that Engineer Okechukwu was a good man who used his blessings for the growth of mankind. The Bishop of Awka Diocese, Most Reverend Ezokafo, also revealed that Engineer Okechukwu, who was member of the Knight of St. John's International, was keen to adding his quota to the growth of the church and held key posts in the diocese, thereby contributing greatly to the building of a hostel accommodation at St. Peter's University, Achina, which will now be named after him.
But at the same time, everything, we give thanks to God, because God is the owner of life. He gives and takes. Hostel in our New Peter University was he completed most in getting this edifice ready. And we thank God we have decided to name that facility after him, because the things we do when we are living here, these things for that will be remembered.
The Archbishop, Province of the Niger, and Bishop of Awka Diocese, Anglican Communion, Most Reverend Alexander Ibezim, prayed for the repose of the soul of late Engineer Okechukwu, saying he always identified with the church, using his blessings, as Awka and Anambra State has lost an illustrious son.
He lived a life that glorified God. He's a great supporter of the church, a great supporter of all people in society, identifies with the need.
A former presidential advisor, Senator Ben Ndi-Obi, and a former senator representing Anambra Central, Chief Victor Ume, described the death of Engineer Okechukwu as an unfortunate one, saying he was a man of honesty, boldness, and forthrightness, among other sterling qualities, which he used to serve his community and humanity, as his sudden demise is a huge shock.
And he loved the church. He was my brother, Knight of St. John International. We were very close friends in that subject. His death came to us suddenly, and we felt very pained. He was a man full of hope who would always want to participate in making things happen. Now that he has left, we believe that he has left in a place of glory.
Some of the relatives of the deceased, Mrs. Uche Umeche, Mr. Dan Okechukwu, emphasized that the death of Engineer Tony has been most painful, but they take solace in the good life he lived. The burial ceremony was well attended by dignitaries and prominent Awka sons, including Professor A.U. Nonyalo of Nnamdi Azikiwe University, Awka, former Federal House of Representatives member for Awka North and South, Chief Emeka Nwogo, Special Advisor to Governor Chukwuma Soludo on legislative matters, Chief Anayo Nnebe, Managing Director of MP Infrastructure, Chief Clem Nwobo, Managing Director of Juhel Nigeria Limited, Dr. Ifeanyi Okoye, former Director General of Standards Organization of Nigeria, son, Dr. Ikem Odumodu, amongst others. The late Engineer Okechukwu died at the age of 68. In Awka, it's been Kenechukwu Chukwudi for EBS News.
And that's it on the news this morning. But remember that you can follow news and programs on ABS from any parts of the world by liking our Facebook page at ABS Radio Television. Subscribe to our YouTube page at ABS Television Oka. Follow us on Instagram at ABS Radio TV. You can also log on to our website at www.absradiotv.com. Well, just before we go this morning, a quick look at our major stories. Mass communication professionals have been charged to adapt survival strategy in the era of career uncertainties. INEC has asked NAS for the speedy passage of Electoral Offences Commission Bill. And we're brought to you in the foreign, saying that more than 6,000 people have been displaced in California's wildfire. Well, here is a special message again before we go. Governor Chukwuma Soludo has come for a total turnaround maintenance of the Anambra State economy and promotion of core Igbo values. Let's give him maximum support for the task ahead. And that's the size of our package this morning. Many thanks for joining the bulletin. I'm Iberi. Good morning. Anambra continues shortly. Please stay with us.